Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pop Lit Book Club. This month, we have The Lager Queen of Minnesota by J. Ryan Straddle, which is also the star of Fargo Moorhead's One Book, One Community this fall. Straddle's debut novel, Kitchens of the Great Midwest, was a big hit, and some of its themes are present in Lager Queen as well. Whether or not you've read Kitchens, you're sure to appreciate the Midwesterness that is front and center in this novel, so let's get into it. The story of Lager Queen is weaved between three Minnesotan women, Edith, her sister Helen, and Diana, who is Edith's granddaughter. Edith and Helen's lives take very different paths after Helen sells the family farm, and after promising and failing to repay Edith when she can, begins a decades-long estrangement. Helen uses all of the money to front her and her husband's brewing business, which eventually becomes very successful. Meanwhile, after a pair of tragedies late in life, Edith finds herself taking care of Diana while struggling to make ends meet. We get to know each character through different fragments of their lives. While the overarching narrative is linear, the pieces of it go back and forth in time. At the beginning, Edith is 64, and her story is about her late years in life. We meet Helen at 15, then jump to different significant ages throughout her life as she works to create and build her business. Diana is first briefly introduced at 12, then fully at 16, and we experience most of her young adulthood and 20s as she too is enticed by the idea of crafting her own beer. These three lives are interspersed with each other, slowly revealing their interconnectedness. Although they've never met, Helen and Diana are equally ambitious. They both work to build a business from the ground up and create success for themselves. Edith too is strong-willed, though in a more quiet way. She keeps her head down and continues to put one foot in front of the other, despite what life throws at her. I can't talk about this theme much without spoiling things, but all three of them look out for those close to them and strive to overcome whatever setbacks they encounter in life. This grit and resolve, I think, are traits which many Midwestern readers will relate to. Besides the year and name introducing each chapter, each is also titled with a dollar amount, a monetary value that is significant in some way to that character. At first, this seems like an odd choice, but it's clear as you read that Straddle wanted to call attention to wealth disparity through the lives of his characters. While not living in abject poverty, Edith and Diana struggle constantly due to low wages and other circumstances that make getting ahead of bills and debts so difficult for some. Edith wonders what life would be like if she had gotten her half of the inheritance, but it's Diana especially who is used to demonstrate how those who have enough money to not need to think about it are practically unable to understand how many barriers there are to making a comfortable income if you're not born into that. Her character argues that one's attempts to overcome those barriers should be judged by their intentions, and that even with the hardest of efforts, luck still plays a role in reaching one's goals. Straddle touches on a few other themes throughout Lager Queen, such as the worth of being happy in the moment without worrying about what will come next, and how the elderly are, in a way, dehumanized due to their age despite having lived full, complex lives. All of these themes center around a topic that is clear from the start: beer. Now, I myself don't enjoy alcohol, but if you have any interest in beer, you'll be happy to know how real the brewing feels in this book. Straddle did a lot of research at more than 30 breweries to get his details right, and I think he did a great job. He puts in just enough to get across that these characters know what they're doing without it reading like an instruction manual. The ingredients, the process, even what's needed to get a brewing company started is addressed. Straddle was inspired to use this topic after seeing how many craft breweries there are, especially in the Midwest, after touring for his first book. And given how popular this trade is even in the Fargo-Moorhead area, I'm sure a lot of our readers will appreciate the incorporation of this part of Minnesota's culture. All right, it is time for discussion questions. There are a lot of themes throughout this book, so if I missed something that you felt was important, feel free to address that in your comment. 1. At the center of the story is a family divided over an unfairly split inheritance. How do you feel about how each sister reacted to their father's decision? 2. Helen instantly loves beer on her first taste and soon comes to the conclusion that she wants to be a brewer. How would you characterize her ambition? Does her relationship with Orville feel honest or calculated? 3. Edith likes to think of herself as a simple person, or does she? In what ways is she actually quite complicated? How does she reveal herself to be as calculating or focused as Helen? 4. Edith is convinced that her life would have been different had she received her half of the farm. How would it have been different? Consequently, how would Diana's life have been different? 5. The relationships within the book, as in life, necessarily evolve and adapt as time passes. Was there a relationship that felt familiar to yourself? 6. Straddle has said that he wrote a bit of his mom into Edith. Was there a character that reminded you of someone you know? Was there a character that you related to? And finally, a less serious question, what is your favorite beer or pie? Now, while I've got you thinking about food, I want to let everyone know that the Lake Agassiz Regional Library is putting together a community cookbook in conjunction with the One Book, One Minnesota selection because of Winn-Dixie by Kate Dicamillo. We want this project to be about both food and Minnesota memories, so we're asking everyone to share what their personal connection is to the recipe that they submit. If you'd like to be a part of this, you can head on over to laurel.org/cookbook, which is linked in the description, and submit your recipes there. Well, I am really curious to see what everyone has to say about this book since it is literally close to home. So please discuss either my questions or your own thoughts in the comments with each other. If you haven't read this book yet, you can find The Lager Queen of Minnesota in digital format on Overdrive and Libby, or you can order a physical copy for curbside pickup. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you again in June when we discuss The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. Have a great day!